Greetings to all fans of intellectual combat. We are in the heart of Montreal. Today is May 26, 1894, a day that will change chess history forever. The 5th official World Chess Championship is underway. Only one man will remain on their chess throne. Wilhelm Steinitz, the first to elevate chess to a scientific level. The reigning world champion who has already defended his title 4 times. He is playing with the black pieces. Emanuel Lasker, a young but incredibly dangerous opponent. His strength lies in his psychological resilience and his ability to trap his opponent at the slightest mistake. He is playing with the white pieces. The match is played to 10 victories. Heading into the 19th game, the score is 9-5 in favor of Lasker. To retain his title, Steinitz needs to win 5 games in a row without losing a single one. Lasker, however, needs only one more victory. Perhaps this game will be Steinitz's last as world champion. Lasker opens the game pawn to d4. Steinitz answers classically pawn to d5. Next, white plays pawn to c4 and black holds the center, pawn to e6. White develops knight to c3, black mirrors him, knight to f6. Lasker continues knight to f3. Steinitz prepares his defense, bishop to e7. White strengthens, pawn to e3, and black retreats into safety, castling on the king side. Wilhelm Steinitz. He's 58 years old. Born in Prague, Bohemia in 1836. A U.S. citizen since 1888. For many years, he stood at the pinnacle of the chess world, winning numerous tournaments and matches and becoming the world chess champion 4 times. The man who transformed chess from a romantic game into an exact science. He essentially taught the world how to play modern positional chess. During this match, Steinitz struggled with the effects of a recent sunstroke and bouts of insomnia, yet he was never afraid to challenge established theories. But will the veteran have enough strength left against a man 34 years his junior? Lasker develops his bishop to d3. Steinitz strikes at the center, pawn to c5. Pawn d4 takes c5. Pawn d5 takes c4. The exchanges have begun. Emanuel Lasker, a 24-year-old rising star, born in 1868 in Berlin, Prussia. He doesn't just play chess, he calculates moves with mathematical precision. The public first heard of him only 5 years before this championship, in 1889, when he won a tournament in Berlin without losing a single game. A long list of victories followed. Today, he is the embodiment of a new era. Lasker is known for his cold-bloodedness, composure, and exceptional endgame mastery. Lasker's bishop d3 takes c4, and look at what Steinitz does. Queen to d1, check. Already at the very start, Steinitz goes for a total queen exchange. Experts in the hall whisper that this early endgame plays right into the hands of young Lasker. White king takes d1, Steinitz develops the flank, knight to c6. Lasker creates space, pawn to a3. Black captures the pawn, bishop takes c5. White pushes his pawn to b4, and Steinitz answers with a counterblow, rook to d8, check. Lasker maneuvers, king to e2, and Steinitz, what is he doing? Bishop to f8. The champion hides his bishop back on its starting square. Perhaps Steinitz simply doesn't want to get in his opponent's way? This is a waste of precious time. The match for the fate of the chess crown has caused a massive sensation. The Cosmopolitan Club was not just crowded, it was literally under siege by enthusiasts every single match day. By the way, there were an unusually high number of ladies among the crowd in the hall. The game was duplicated on several boards for the spectators. The game becomes positional. Bishop c1 to b2, Black develops the bishop, bishop c8 to d7. Lasker takes the file, rook h1 to d1. Steinitz responds, rook a8 to c8. White retreats, bishop c4 to b3. Black maneuvers the knight, knight to e7. Lasker pressures the center, knight to d4. Steinitz defends, knight to g6. White prepares to double up, rook to d2. Pawn e6 to e5. A doubtful decision as it opens a direct path for White's pieces to apply crushing pressure. The moves were transmitted by Telegraph and displayed on a large board in the window of the Montreal Star newspaper office. People who don't even know the rules of the game stand for hours waiting for a single telegraph signal. The crowds of fans on St. James Street were so large that the passage of carriages became impossible. Police were forced to constantly disperse the crowd to clear the roadway. White knight to f3. Steinitz pins the pieces, bishop to g4. Exchange of rooks, rook d1 takes d8, black rook c8 takes d8. Lasker kicks the bishop, pawn to h3, and Steinitz captures, bishop takes f3, check. White pawn takes f3. Here is the critical point of the game. Steinitz gives up his bishop for a knight. Lasker is delighted he now has the advantage of the two bishops. Black bishop to e7, Lasker occupies the vertical, rook to c1, black king to f8, knight to a4, pawn to b6. Lasker moves knight to c3, Steinitz leads the defense, bishop to d6. White rook to d1, black knight to e8. White knight to d5, rook to d7. White develops the advantage, bishop b3 to c2. Black king to e7. Steinitz brings his king into the thick of things, trying to stick to his modern school of chess, but now it looks like pure agony. The match was divided into 3 stages in different cities: New York, Philadelphia, and Montreal. 1-week breaks were taken between the stages for travel and player rest. New York, the first 8 games took place at the Union Square Hotel. Lasker led 4-0 with 2 draws. Philadelphia, a short stage at the Franklin Chess Club, where Lasker strengthened his lead to 7 wins. Montreal, the final and most intense stage at the Cosmopolitan Club. Before the start of the 19th game, the score is 9-5 in favor of Lasker. Bishop to f5, pawn to a6. White captures, bishop takes d7, black king takes g7. Lasker continues with knight to c3. Steinitz tries to attack, pawn to f5. White undermines the flank, pawn to b5, exchange, pawn takes b5, knight takes b5, black king to e6. Lasker tastes the bishop on b3, black knight to e7. White knight takes d6, black knight takes d6. Lasker's bishop to b4, black knight e7 to d5. White rook to c1, black knight to f7. Lasker maneuvers, bishop to d2, black knight to d6. White king to d3, black king to d7. The finale is near, pawn to e4, black knight to f6. Lasker develops the bishop to e3, black pawn f6 takes e4, check. White pawn f3 takes e4, black pawn to b5. Lasker strengthens the pawn chain, pawn to f3, black knight to c4. White rook to c3, black knight to e8. Lasker prepares the end, bishop to c1, black knight to d6. White attacks, rook to c5, black knight to c7. Lasker takes the pawn, rook c5 takes e5, black knight to e6. White rook to h5, black pawn to h6. Another regrouping, rook to e5, black pawn to g5. Lasker undermines the defense, pawn to h5, pawn g5 takes h5. White rook to h5, black king to c6. And the final chords,
Rook to h6. Steinitz in desperation delivers one last check. Knight e6 to c5. Lasker calmly steps away. King to c2.
Steinitz stops the clock and reaches out his hand. He resigns. Lasker is the greatest player I have ever met, and perhaps the best endgame player alive. Ladies and gentlemen, we have witnessed the end of an era. Emanuel Lasker is the new world chess champion, the second in history. The era of Wilhelm Steinitz is officially over. The king is dead, long live the king. What an incredible match. Although Emanuel Lasker enjoyed widespread respect, no one suspected that his influence on chess would stretch for decades. His reign as champion lasted for 27 years.